Hey, what is up you guys? My name is Darrian and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a Q&A and I'm going to be spilling the tea. Every time I film this there's just a dog walking by. I mean, whatever. Let's get into the video.
With you, under street lights right next to the skyline. With you.
What is up, you guys? Long time no see.
Jasper's over here in his table if you hear the jumping noises. How was your transition to motherhood? What surprised you and what's your favorite part? Honestly, my transition to motherhood, and I've talked about this a lot actually, but my transition into motherhood was like easy peasy. And I'm not saying that to like brag or anything, but I was somebody who didn't even know if I wanted to have kids. Jasper was not planned at all. For those of you who don't know, I have a 5-month-old son. And yeah, I love every minute of being a mom. It's something that has completely taken me by surprise. And my favorite part is honestly just watching him grow. He is a new person every time he wakes up because they just learn so much and change and grow so much. It's wild, honestly. And like just being able to look at him and be like, I made that. Like I did that. My body made him. Like, isn't that crazy? That's my favorite part. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you want to come be in the video? What is your favorite thing about Alaska? My favorite thing about Alaska so far has to be the weather. I mean, it's not too hot in the summer except for like those 2 weeks where it's like 90 degrees. And this fall has been amazing, like the perfect fall weather. It's basically over at this point. Like fall is a very short season here, but fall is my favorite season and it was just so beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Like if Alaska isn't on your bucket list, it needs to be, because it's great. But also just like the way of life here is different. Like there isn't a lot of daylight in the winter months. During the summer when there is 24 hours of daylight, everybody, and I mean everybody, is out like all day. Like kids playing outside until like midnight. It's wild, but I love it. How do you like the post in Alaska and just living there in general? Kind of the same thing, but yeah, I love it. The post here is small. It's small enough to feel like you are part of a community, but not small, like too small where you feel like there isn't anything going on or there, you know, like aren't any people. And it's really easy to get around. It doesn't take my husband 20 minutes to get to work like it did at Fort Benning, so bless up for that. But yeah, it's been really easy for me to plug in here and get involved in the community. And I think because of that, I'm enjoying being here way more. Did you know your husband before he went to West Point? No, I did not. There's a very old video. I'm not sure if it's on this channel or on our vlogging channel, but I'll link it for you guys. There's a very old video, like one of the first videos I ever did, about how Justin, my husband, and I met. We actually met on Tinder, for those of you who don't know, and we did not know each other before he started going to West Point. He was a second semester plebe, and I was an intern when we met. What was your major in college? My major in college, well, you ready for some tea? My first major in college was psychology. I didn't have the grades to get straight into the major, so I was a pre-psychology major my freshman year. When I found out all the math and science classes you had to take to be a psychology major, I decided I didn't want to be that anymore. So I switched to journalism. Journalism is something that I've always had a passion for. Growing up, I wanted to be a war reporter because there weren't many female war reporters at the time. And I grew up in the middle of, you know, the Iraq War. So that's what I wanted to be. And so that was my second major in college, and my first semester as a journalism major, I had a teacher who I despised, and she basically ruined journalism for me. So I changed my major for the third time my junior year and I switched to English. So I have a bachelor's degree in English. And the only reason I graduated on time is because I really enjoyed English classes. So I took a lot of them as electives. I actually took so many English classes throughout my college career that by the time I was an English major, my senior year, I had to take a bunch of different classes. Like I was not allowed to take any additional English classes other than what I needed to graduate because I had taken so many. Because that's a thing. And then if you're curious, no one asked this, but I also have a master's degree in integrated marketing communications. What is your favorite type of sandwich? My favorite type of sandwich is a grilled cheese. How did you think of the name Made in Mom Jeans? So I think I've talked about this on the blog, but this is Jasper. Say hi, Jasper. I think I've talked about this on the blog, but Made in Mom Jeans was not the original name I came up with. So if you've been around a while, my blog has gone through some growing pains. I've changed the name up multiple times, which is why one of my biggest pieces of advice to anybody who wants to start a blog is to find a name that you love the first time because it makes it a lot easier. And now Gatsby wants in on it. Hi. But I actually had thought of the name Mom Jeans and Mimosas when I decided that I was going to change the blog, and I looked it up and no one had it, so I bought the .com domain. What I didn't know is that somebody had been blogging with that name for about 2 years, using a different ending. It wasn't .com, and for some reason in my searches it like didn't come up. It literally didn't come up. Like I didn't know about it until the day I was supposed to launch the new blog. And I like panicked. I was like, maybe God doesn't want me to blog. Maybe this is a sign. But then the name Made in Mom Jeans kind of hit me. And basically because mom jeans are like my favorite, clothing item. Basically, I've always struggled with like trying to define my personal style, and once I started wearing mom jeans, it was kind of just like, this is it, this is me. And basically like that really was coinciding with a new season of life, getting married, moving on from New York, that sort of thing. So basically my life was made in mom jeans. So like I was made it, like I started to become who I was in my mom jeans. So that's basically where the name comes from. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Uh-huh. What were other names you had thought about naming Jasper? We came up with the name Jasper like pretty quickly for our first name. I want to say by like October. So I found out I was pregnant in August, and I want to say by October we had his first name picked out. Hi, buddy. What we really struggled with were middle names. His middle name is Emerson, for those of you who don't know that. But we really struggled with that, and for a long time we thought his middle name was going to be Fox, just because I liked the way that it sounds and I thought it was unique. So we ended up not going with that because we found the name Emerson. Yeah. But yeah. That's why he has like foxes in his nursery and that sort of thing. Yeah. Uh-huh. What was your reason for starting a blog? So I first started blogging when I was in college, but like super casually. I've always been a writer. I have notebooks and notebooks filled with stories, and I used to be into role playing, and just any type of way that I could write, I was writing. And in college, I was doing it more of like a journal type thing, and like trying to be like a hipster and like be a Tumblr girl and that sort of thing. But once I graduated, I really kind of just felt lost. I was living in a new area. I was working a new job. I was dealing with anxiety for the first time, like outside of a school setting, which was hard for me. So I started blogging as a way to like help me work through those feelings of anxiety and just like to cope with all of the things that I was going through. That's how it started, and it just grew over the years. I really found a passion for it, and then it kind of blew up into this industry. And I found myself really enjoying being a part of it. But basically I wanted to help people through their anxiety and help and help myself through my own anxiety and that sort of thing. So that's how it started. And now basically everything that I write is something that I wish I had read myself. How has it been being an Army wife so far? Honestly, it's been great. I've struggled a bit with the transition from West Point to military life, in that making friends was hard for me, and like getting outside of the house and like being plugged into a community was hard for me. And I think that just comes with the territory of being at a base for training and not necessarily part of a unit. And also I was newly pregnant. I was exhausted. I couldn't get off the couch for a while. So that was really hard. For me, I really struggled there. But since then, since figuring out the ways and the tools to like get myself out of the house and like know that I really do need to put myself out there in order to make friends at a duty station, it's been a lot better. And I'm honestly loving it. We're gonna be here for 3 years probably, and then go back to Georgia. So yeah, it's just, I kind of like not knowing what's coming next, but like also sort of having an idea of what's coming next. So yeah, I can't complain about Army life so far. What is the hardest part about being a mother? And honestly, the hardest part about being a mother is the fact that you have to learn to advocate for your child and like what's best for them. So I am terrible at advocating for myself. And learning how to do that because my child needs me to be their advocate because they can't stand up for themselves was definitely very hard for me. I struggled with breastfeeding, and Jasper struggled with weight and with breastfeeding. And so I had to make the decision very early on to switch to formula, and that was hard for me because I had to make that decision. No one else could make that decision for me. So yeah, that would probably be what I would say is the hardest part. Just like on the military side of things, the hardest part about being a mother is that a lot of the time you feel like a single parent. And it is hard. There are days where you don't have a break, and yeah, and like we're not even in a season of deployment yet. So, or like right now. So I can't even imagine how hard it is going through that. But yeah. What is your favorite childhood memory? This one's honestly really hard for me. This is something like really strange about me, and I don't know if it's just because like I have a lot of like anxiety from childhood or what, but I kind of like blocked out a lot of my like childhood memories. So I don't really remember a lot of things, but I would have to say that like my absolute favorite childhood memory was just being around horses. My grandfather has had horses since before I was born, and I learned to ride really young. And we had a horse named Nikki at my grandfather's, and I just loved her. She was blind in both eyes. And I would just saddle her up. Sometimes I wouldn't even saddle her up. Sometimes I would just ride bareback. But those are definitely my favorite memories. That and picking green beans with my grandma. Snapping green beans with my grandma, not picking. Also picking green beans. What is your favorite alcoholic beverage? My favorite alcoholic beverage is beer. I love beer, especially craft beer. Like any kind of beer. Yeah, I'm a beer girl. If it's like a drink, I like margaritas. Other than that, I like beer. What is your favorite book? My favorite book is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Fun fact, have 6 different copies. And my favorite series is Harry Potter, because duh. What is the best way to start a blog? If you ever message me, and ask for like tips about starting a blog, my #1 piece of advice for you is going to be to just start. Because if you worry about being perfect or worry about what people are gonna think or that sort of thing, you'll never start. So literally just start writing and posting. Like, don't worry about, you know, what your blog looks like or anything like that. Just start writing and getting it out there. It's the best way to start. Natalie Borton is one of my favorite people on Instagram to follow for like inspiration. Yeah, you're making this hard. Yeah. Other than that, recently I've really been into just kind of like honestly dressing how my mom used to dress, like how I remember her dressing when I was growing up. I've been really into just like buying certain brands at the thrift store. Like here, LL Bean and Eddie Bauer are really popular at the local thrift store. So I've really been buying like a lot of those vintage pieces. And that sort of thing. I basically just find something I like and figure out how to incorporate it into my style. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I base all of my outfits around my mom jeans, pretty much. Although I am starting to branch back out into like skinny jeans and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you are struggling with finding your like personal style, then my first suggestion is to go through your closet and get rid of anything that you don't like and go from there. Also, Pinterest is a great resource for that. Where did you get your glasses? I got my glasses at Costco and they were $150 and have all of the, you know, top lenses and that sort of thing. So go Costco. What is my dream job if blogging didn't work out? And honestly, like blogging is my dream job. The only other thing that I could think of being like my dream job would be being a writer. So I do hope to publish a book one day. So yeah, that would be my dream job, would be a writer, an author, a published author. The top 3 books I recommend, wow. A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway is great. It is a memoir, especially if you like F. Scott Fitzgerald and, you know, the 20s and 30s and that sort of thing. Definitely check out A Movable Feast. I think everybody should read it. It's just really, really well written. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, obviously. If you've never read Harry Potter, you should do yourself a favor and at least try to read it. And if you are not a reader, all of the audiobooks are available on Audible. And then the 3rd book I would recommend, gosh, that's hard, Handmaid's Tale. How long do y'all plan to stay in the military? Is it long term for him being my husband? And right now, we plan on making the military a career. So that is the plan, which means 20 years at least. That's the plan right now. You know, plans change and things don't always go according to them, so we will see what happens, but for now we are planning on being a career family. And then the last question is, what has been your highest point in life so far aside from Jasper? And honestly, like, this is going to sound so cheesy, but building this community has really been the high point of my life, aside from having my son and marrying my husband. I think that the first time somebody ever wrote to me and said, your writing or your story really helped me in this scenario, I think that just was like the tip of the iceberg for me. So when I say thank you for all of your support, I truly do mean it. Each and every one of you is like a family member to me, and yeah, oh my goodness. I am so thankful for each and every one of you and for the opportunity to do this, you know, to just grow and learn alongside you guys and just have this opportunity to share my life with you. Really means the world to me. So yeah. Why do people always text me when I'm filming videos? That is all the questions that I have right now. So I'm going to sign off here and get this one to bed before he freaks out. So we will see you guys real soon. Bye.